Yes, big interview time. Well, could have been the GOAT, but ended up being the hero. Christien Ducharme, the mechanic for Jett Lawrence. Will Christian did talk to you after the race, so we got a little perspective already, but that had to be maybe the craziest minute of your life.
Yeah, I'd say that probably last minute and a half or so was pretty much a blur, and heart rate was probably around 200 the entire time. But yeah, that was probably one of the more stressful moments in racing that I've gone through for sure.
Hey, so that's such a scramble just for the fans that maybe don't know everything you had to do in that short amount of time. Just run through the whole sequence of what you had to accomplish after the parade lap and before that gate dropped.
Okay. So obviously, the gate drops for sight lap, goes out. Let's give or take 2 minutes. A fast lap time is minute 30. So about 2 minutes is gone already out of your 5 minutes. And then it comes back in. We got a tire ready. It's already in a wheel cover. And I sit next to the stand. He gets off, we throw it on the stand, take the wheel off, swap onto a new wheel, take the bike off the stand, wheel on the gate, and then whole shot button, scramble back, get that wheel cover off. Obviously not as easy as it being on a stand. You can just undo it, spin the tire, and it comes right off. But little chaos. Straps covered in mud from wheeling it over. All that little extra kind of what do you call it? Extra difficulties of the conditions that play a factor. A little bit of mud here and there that you don't quite practice for on a nice dry under the tent, run through.
And you have some plans. Yeah, it'd be tough. You can't have the bike on the stand and on the grade at the same time, but you guys have thought of some ways to maybe make it a little more efficient next time?
Yeah, for sure. As far as, the second wheel or the spare wheel, it doesn't really need to be tire wrapped. You can take off the stand and, you can just carry the back wheel and wheel it on the mesh. There saves a bunch of time. And this not rush the whole shot button. We kind of, when we first wheeled on the mesh, the bike wasn't completely on the mesh, and we're kind of slipping a couple times getting the whole shot button in. So just moving forward, just cleaning up little issues that we had.
Yeah. So two questions here in one. First, did you communicate that to Jett? Like, hey, we're not going to have a lot of time and I'm going to need every second. So if you could kind of hurry up on this parade lap, I would appreciate that, because in my racing days, I was told that, like, hey, don't put us in a bind. You got to rush because we've got a lot to do when you get back, and motocross can be the same with fuel and things like that. And then the second part of that question, have you guys done a lot of testing with a clean rear wheel, clean tire versus one that had been out on the parade lap? And are you seeing a big performance advantage enough to go through the stresses of the wheel change?
Yeah, I did tell him that, hey, because he is very slow on his sight laps. He will take his sweet time, which, regardless, that's his thing. That's no worries. But this one was definitely, yeah, hey man, we gotta move on this one. Like, we got some work to do. But testing wise, it's kind of tough to test, right? Which one is better or worse? But the muddiest part of the track was behind the gate. It was just clay slop. So I think regardless what you can actually get off the tire versus a clean tire, because the grate was dry. So if it was a wet mesh, it's kind of at that point a wash. If you're like San Diego or especially San Fran, right? At that point, it doesn't really matter if your tire's covered, because you're not going to get much traction regardless. But this time, the mesh being dry, going on there with a wet clay tire covered in muddy clay, you're at a disadvantage for sure. So we were willing to gamble and take the risk and get him that extra bonus of trying to get a better start with a clean tire.
And what's your relationship like with him? He said in the press conference that things like this strengthen the relationship. It doesn't break the trust. It actually helps it. What's it like as Jett is, everything's more pressure, I'm sure. What's it been like?
We really get along very well. I think that having that trust built between the two, right? Like, I think that helps a lot, especially ease his mind on things. I even going back and rewatching the race, he looked back a couple times before the gate drop, but he was like, he'll figure it out. I'm going to dump the clutch regardless. I'm going. And luckily, it worked out that way. But I have to agree with him. I think these situations, I don't want to have them, right? There's, some things that, I'm not too proud to say I could have been better on during that whole chaos. But, having that kind of relationship and that trust with each other definitely it helps him get more confidence, I think, as well, and gives me confidence in my job.
Sorry that you got the spotlight maybe when you didn't want it for 90 seconds, but you must be doing something right.
Hey, it is what it is. But I'll
Awesome.
take it.
All right, thanks, and we'll see you in Birmingham this weekend. Hopefully, you won't be dealing with muddy tires again. We'll see.
Hey, we'll be ready this time.
All right.
Thanks, Christian.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll see how Birmingham turns out. If you folks want to watch it, well, just come and watch it in person, or check out the coverage on Peacock and the SMX Video Pass that's outside the United States. It'll be 1:30 Eastern Time Saturday, Race Day Live, and 7 o'clock Eastern Time Saturday. We will go racing.